Self-described as weird Wisconsin hard rock, local Madison band Sunspot has been playing shows since 1996. The three-piece played at the Capitol for Lunchtime Live, and we found out what exactly goes into their sound.
This band started performing at the University of Wisconsin in 1996 and has been playing steadily ever since with over 1,500 shows. You can pick up one of their 9 albums or see where they're performing next at sunspotmusic.com. Without further ado, please welcome Sunspot.
So Wendy plays drums and sings background vocals and plays violin. I'm Ben, I play guitar and keys and sing background vocals, and Mike is the lead singer and bassist.
I won't waste my time on your assembly line. You can't make me grow up.
Tell me about the sound of Sunspot. It's very unique.
Thank you. I think just fun, upbeat, original rock.
Lyrics that make people think, want to do stuff, throw your fist in the air, start dancing, high energy.
I won't waste my time on your assembly line. You can't make me grow up. You'll never make me grow up.
Part of our inspiration comes from paranormal themes, and that's what helps make it kind of fun.
Well, we write weird love songs, so love songs about aliens, haunted songs.
You feel me walking on your grave.
A lot of people write great love songs. Not a lot of people write great love songs about werewolves.
It might make you sad that this is my world. Well, it might make you mad that this is all I know.
The lyrics are designed to dig a little deeper than just surface level. Things from literature. Mike's got a ghost box business, so we draw some material from that.
In 2010, I started the first haunted history tour of Madison. That was Madison Ghost Walks, and we do several routes around the Capitol Square, the UW campus, and State Street, where we talk about the history of the locations and also the ghost stories that have happened to people inside there and the paranormal experiences. And it's a lot of fun. You don't believe how haunted the theaters and music venues of Madison are. Well, Sunspot actually got started with me and our guitar player, Ben, were neighbors in grade school, and then we started it for the junior high talent show when we were in 8th grade. And then we just never stopped.
We all went to UW-Madison for college, and we lived in the dorms. Started having our first gigs at a place called the Mango Grill, which was down in University Square there.
Songs that make you think and make you feel. But we also love, you know, piano, like Wendy plays violin and Ben plays piano.
We are the alphas and the omegas.
We've played all over the country and parts of Canada. Yeah, like 1,200 shows. We just love making music, and we want to keep doing it. And we're happy that people still come out and see it.
Come out to Sunspot's show because you'll not only have a fun time and you'll get to dance and sing along, which we encourage and clap. We hope that you'll be moved along with us, and like together we're going to have an awesome experience that'll be the only one of its kind ever in the history of time.
The only face I ever had was you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to photojournalist Chris Haubecker for putting that together. You can catch Sunspot at their next show Saturday, September 6th at McAlefee's Pub in Racine. Now, your weekend playlist pick this week obviously has to be Sunspot.
It's sold out. It's sold out, babe.
If you're listening to Summer Day, you can visit sunspotmusic.com to hear more and create a weekend playlist pick with us by sending me a song with the subject playlist pick to Mr. Quinn at WISCTV.com and tune in weekend mornings to hear your song. Still ahead in your entertainment news, Will Loper has the 3 things you need to watch. Stick with us. You're watching Weekend Mornings, and we're back after this.
Welcome back. I've been talking a lot about the storms this weekend. Let's take a look at the temperatures. Now, it is going to be pretty warm for some areas. The further north you are, the less warm it will be, as highs will only be in the middle to upper 70s, but middle to lower 80s for southern Wisconsin. And there are going to be some pretty hot temperatures just to the southwest of us. In fact, there's a heat advisory all the way north as parts of Iowa. And we're going to expect heat index values in the lower 90s. Again, this is really for far southwest Wisconsin. The rest of the area should see heat indices at the warmest in the middle 80s. And as I mentioned, further north, it's only going to be in the 70s. Now, as we take a look at the overnight lows with the cloud cover, it is going to be a mild night with lows around 70, middle 60s for areas off to the north. And overall temperatures won't be quite as warm tomorrow, upper 70s to lower 80s across the board. And for the most part, we're not expecting any very warm days in the future. In fact, we're going to see a lot of comfortable temperatures, upper 70s to lower 80s for most of the 10-day forecast.
All right, so we just got to get past this little rough patch and we'll be there.
Yeah, I mean, when we see those temperatures comfortable next week, it is going to be dry as well.
Nice. Thank you, Jacob. Well, the Agora Art Fair is returning to Fitchburg today, so let's head back out to our Ellie La Liberté. How's the setup going?
Hey, Michelle Renee. Well, who better to ask about how setup's going here than one of the 100 artists featured here today? I'm joined here by Carrie Shannon. Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Hi.
Hi, well, welcome for being on our show. So how long have you been coming to this art fair?
I've been doing this art fair 15 out of the 17 years.
Wow, so what makes you keep coming back?
Well, first of all, the customers are excited about coming. They love to collect everyone's art. It's also my other artist friends. It's a very happy event.
Awesome. So talk to me a little bit about your art. Talk to me, how do you make it? What's your creative process?
Okay, my creative process, my inspiration a lot of times is water, nature. My process actually is hand fabrication. I use a lot of hand tools. I also do a lot of stone setting. So I have my goldsmithing hammers and multiple stone setting, which also requires a torch. And texturing, a lot of my artwork is sculptural and organic.
Well, it's very beautiful. So tell me, what's your favorite part about coming back to this art fair?
My favorite part is being with the other artists. This is my favorite show, and there's so much for people to do if they're not necessarily art collectors. There's music, there's delicious food, but the art is the best part.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Carrie. We appreciate it. And of course, this art fair runs from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., so plenty of time to get down here and check out artists like Carrie. I'll send it back to you in studio, but for now, reporting live in Fitchburg, Ellie La Liberté, News 3 Now.
Ellie, that does look super fun, and she makes a really good point. I might need to get out there today. Thank you so much. The time now is 8:22, and there is clearly no shortage of films and shows streaming. Our Will Loper shares a few of the best in this weekend's 3 Things to Watch.
I was born on a small island in the Black Sea. People say it's a dangerous place. There are bears and wolves and something else. Something people feared was much worse.
Find cuteness in the woods with the 2025 film The Legend of Ochi, newly streaming on HBO Max.
You're not like they say.
A young girl finds a baby Ochi and sets off to return it to its family.
You'll be torn apart. They can't be our pets.
He's my friend.
Return to the world of Ridley Scott's Alien with Alien Earth, newly streaming on Hulu.
This ship collected 5 different life forms from the darkest corners of the universe.
Set 2 years before the 1979 film, the series follows a space vessel that crashes on Earth that contains what could be the planet's greatest threat.
Your first time at camp. I know you're gonna love it. Your generation would rather sit in front of the television.
I would rather sit in front of the TV.
And experience an all-new Peanuts musical with Snoopy Presents a Summer Musical.
They all seem to love this place.
That's because of all the wonderful things you can do here.
Sally, Charlie Brown, and the rest of the Peanuts gang head off to summer camp. Those are the 3 things you need to watch, and this is Will Loper for Weekend Mornings.
Those Peanuts.
Yeah, I used to watch like some of those holiday specials with the Peanuts growing up because my dad's a big fan of it.
Oh.
I remember, I think it was the Thanksgiving one, you know, the chants over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go. Is that what that is that where that comes from?
I don't know where that comes from
I've heard
specifically.
that chant a few times. I'm assuming that's where it came
I
from.
thought it
but
was
yeah,
Little Red Riding Hood. But
maybe.
Don't quote me.
Maybe.
Do not quote
I don't know.
me.
I feel embarrassed if that was wrong. But that's
It's
where I
okay.
remember. That's where I remember
It's
it from.
I always think of Peanuts because going into middle school, every single day as we would walk into music class, our teacher, Mrs. Vent, would be playing da 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 dun 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 dun, you know, the whole theme song every single time we would go in and out. And so every time I hear that song, that's exactly what I think of.
Yeah, it's iconic.
Well, before we head to break, here's a look at last night's winning numbers. Don't go anywhere. We're still running through the day's top headlines. Stick with us. You're watching Weekend Mornings. Right now, we're getting both parents and students ready to head back to school.
Plus, we're going to see on and off thunderstorms throughout the weekend. The full forecast coming up.
And the Agora Art Fair returns to Fitchburg. Our Ellie La Liberté is joining us live from the location. Well, good morning, good morning. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Michelle Renee Quinn, your weekend morning anchor.
And I'm meteorologist Jacob Montesano. Today is Saturday, August 16th. We're going to begin this morning with some motivation. Today's quote is from The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Great one.
Yes, it is a great one. You are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. Our director chose this quote today, Nina, and it is one of my favorite quotes. Thank you for sending it. I believe it ends with, you are loved more than you know.
Yeah, I loved Winnie the Pooh, growing up, and I actually think I like it more as an adult because I can appreciate, just the cleverness behind it.
Yes.
I think it's awesome.
The cleverness, the lessons, the
Yeah.
wholesomeness. Well, not only do we love Winnie the Pooh, but we also love our viewers and we love to keep you informed. And since we have an alert day today, Jacob is going to tell us everything that you need to know to be ready.
Thanks, Michelle Renee. As we take a look at the current radar, southern Wisconsin is dry and will likely be dry for the next several hours. It's up in the northern portion of the state. Those are the areas seeing the thunderstorms right now. That includes you folks in Eau Claire. Plenty of lightning with these thunderstorms and also some heavy rainfall. Thankfully, at least right now, no severe thunderstorm warnings, but we definitely could see some strong winds, minor hail, maybe even a few isolated tornadoes today. And that is the big reason we have the alert day, and everyone is in that isolated severe weather risk. We're not expecting, constant severe weather, but everyone will be in that risk. And because there's that isolated tornado risk, we felt it necessary to put an alert day in the forecast for today. The most likely area to see those storms will be for places north of Dane County. Southern Wisconsin still has that chance, but it's very possible that far southern Wisconsin, at least parts of far southern Wisconsin, miss out on these thunderstorms entirely. Now, like I mentioned, we're likely not going to see much for the next several hours from Madison and surrounding areas. All that rain will stay up to the north, could clip the northern portion of Madison's DMA, in those Juneau to Adams County ranges. But once we get towards the later afternoon and evening hours, those storms will continue to push further south. And then once we get to the overnight hours, we are expecting rain across southern Wisconsin, but the later in the night we get, the less likely it will be severe. So I'll continue talking about the rainfall forecast because we have more storm chances to end the weekend. I'll have those details coming up a bit later.
All right, we'll be sure to check in. Thanks, Jacob. Folks at home, you can stay on top of the alert day conditions by downloading the free First Warn Weather app. Find that wherever you get your apps. Happening today is the Agora Art Fair, and you can find over 100 local and regional artists from every medium. Our very own Ellie LaLiberte joins us live in Fitchburg at the fair this morning as they're getting everything set up. Good morning, Ellie.
Good morning, Michelle Renee. Yeah, they're certainly gearing up for a big, exciting day here. I'm sure you can see over my shoulder some of these artists getting set up here. There's all types of art, from jewelry to woodworking to painting, so a little bit of something for everyone. As you said, about 100 artists here today. And I was talking to some folks last year who've been coming back since this event started for 17 years, but there are also about 21 new artists today. So of course the focus really on them today, but there's a lot of different ways you can come out and celebrate art. There's also new this year, celebrations of Latin culture. That includes performances like dance and art. Well, if you're also coming down today, here's some other things you can expect. There's going to be kids activities, a beer and wine garden, and they're also bringing back Art in the Wind this year, which is an impressive display of kites. Now, this event is free, so if you're planning on coming down, you have plenty of time. It doesn't start until 10 a.m. and it'll run till 5 p.m. And if you're looking for a little bit of a sneak peek at some of that art, you can go to agoraartfair.com. Reporting live in Fitchburg, Ellie LaLiberte, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Ellie. We do appreciate your reporting. And organizers are saying to leave those pets at home today. In more local news, we have an update to a story we've been following for 8 months now. The Wisconsin Elections Commission is moving forward with new guidelines for the Madison Clerk's office after it failed to count nearly 200 ballots in the November 2024 election. The commission voted 5-1 to adopt the orders, which aim to not only prevent absentee ballots from going missing again, but also make an example of the city. City Attorney and Acting Clerk Michael Haas says many of the orders are things the city has already implemented.
I think the two main things were, again, how we improved the training for poll workers on processed absentee ballots. In addition, one of the concerns was printing the poll books sooner, closer to the election, and that was also implemented for the spring elections.
The next deadline for the city is January 1st, when the city clerk must explain in writing the steps taken to comply with each aspect of the WEC orders. And this morning, summit talks on ending the war in Ukraine did not produce a ceasefire. President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin met in Alaska on Friday for a high-stakes summit and talks of a ceasefire, something President Trump sought to secure heading into the summit. In brief remarks afterwards, Putin alluded to unspecified agreements, while President Trump called it extremely productive. However, neither leader mentioned a halt to the fighting in Ukraine.
We had an extremely productive meeting, and many points were agreed to. There are just a very few that are left. Some are not that significant. One is probably the most significant, but we have a very good chance of getting there.
During joint remarks in which they took no questions, Putin complimented President Trump, saying he agreed with his long-held assertion that the war would have never happened if Trump had been in office. On Fox News, the president also said that he and Putin got along great and that Putin supported Trump's unproven claims about mail-in voting and the 2020 election. Now to our back-to-school coverage. That sack lunch you're sending to school with your kid, it's pricier now. The costs rising more than the rate of inflation over the past year. Research from Deloitte looked at 4 different lunch options that parents could pack in a week, assuming one meal would be purchased at school. It found the average daily cost of a brown bag lunch is currently $6.15, about 3% more than last year. A classic lunch includes a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and milk. And that saw an even steeper price hike. While less than $5, it'll run you 6% more than it did last year. And that's due to the higher cost of items like jelly, apples, and single-serve milk cartons.
When asked what the reasonable cost for a packed lunch should be, $4.50 was the median answer from the parents surveyed, and all of the options in the study cost more than that.
42% of parents surveyed say their kids bring lunch from home, even if cafeteria food is cheaper or sometimes free. They say it's because of reasons like quality and variety. In more local news, you can help local nonprofit Backed by Love in its community Back to School drive. This year, founder Monique Johnson is focusing on supporting those who support others with this community donation drive. Backed by Love is hosting Feed the Feeder. This event continues to collect donations this week to ease back to school costs. Feed the Feeder is focusing on behind the scenes items that aren't always included in your typical back to school drive. Items like cleaning products, toiletries, and gently used shoes. Then anyone can stop by next Saturday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Penn Park, exactly 1 week from today, to pick up the free supplies. Monetary donations can be made via Cash App to Backed by Love, and you can bring items to drive up and donate on the day of. Helping the parents help the kids. And one of the first steps to get your kiddos ready for the school year is a good night's sleep. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine says preschoolers need up to 13 hours of sleep a day, including naps. Children aged 6 to 12 should sleep 9 to 12 hours, and teenagers benefit from 8 to 10 hours a night.
You have to remember, this is a new world, especially to young kids, and they're learning so much. And just like every other thing in your body, you have to have time for it to rest so that when it's active, it can be on it could be at the best potential.
Other important sleep tips are don't eat a heavy meal before bed, ditch those screens, and choose relaxing activities like showering and story time. Before we head to break, here is a look at your gas prices, but keep it here because we'll be right back after this.
You're watching Weekend Mornings.
This morning, a Quick Trip in Mount Horeb invites you to an EV charger open house. It's to highlight their Quick Charge program in partnership with Wisconsin Clean Cities. Quick Charge offers connectors for both combined charging standard and the North American charging standard, with up to 400 kilowatts of power for a single vehicle. This allows drivers of almost any electric vehicle to charge at a safe, clean, and staffed 24/7 location. The Mount Horeb Quick Trip will be collecting food in support of a local food drive, or food bank rather, during this open house. So if you plan to attend, you can bring a donation or some extra cash so you can purchase something to donate at the shop. That open house is today from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So it starts in just over an hour. Now, I think it might be a little wet out there. Let's check in with Jacob Montesano and see what it's going to be like.
Yeah, we could see some rain across the area today, but I want to take a moment and talk about the rain we've seen throughout the course of the month. Now, obviously, southern Wisconsin has seen plenty of it, including Madison, but Madison not quite as extreme as some other parts of southern Wisconsin. We are above average, though. We've had about 3 inches of rain, average about 2 inches of rain up until this point in the month of August, and we are going to continue to see more rain throughout the weekend, especially for areas north of Madison, and that is some good news considering areas north didn't get quite as much rain as certain areas, especially near Milwaukee, did last weekend. So the areas that are going to see the most rain this weekend, again, not as much last weekend, which is kind of a good balance. Now, we're going to continue to see those chances of rainfall for the next couple of days, but once we get to Tuesday, we're going to be very dry starting Tuesday and continuing towards the end of the 10-day forecast. It was a big night for the Brewers in Cincinnati, the Crew taking on the Reds. Let's go to the top of the third inning, 2 outs when Christian Yelich steps up to the plate and drops a double into left field that scores Brandon Lockridge. And still the top of the third, Andrew Vaughn hits a 3-run homer that scores William Contreras and Christian Yelich. Later in the game, Yelich is back at it, hits his second home run of the game, a solo shot into left field, and the Brewers take the lead. And the Brewers would go on to beat the Reds. Final score 10-8. That is their 13th straight victory. And when it comes to the Packers, follow along with our expert Jason Wilde on channel3000.com. Kickoff for today's game against the Colts is set for noon Central Time. And that's your morning sports fix.
Now to your consumer news this morning. A report shows inflation remains steady in July, but there are worries that could change. Compared to last year, prices rose 2.7%. The cost of gas is down, but staples like beef, eggs, and coffee continue to go up because of shortages. In the Producer Price Index report, costs for manufacturers and sellers saw the biggest one-month surge in 3 years. And Ford is recalling more than 100,000 F-150 pickups. The automaker says some of the 2023 to 2025 models have a problem with their axle belts. It can cause the truck to roll away if the parking brake isn't on or cause a loss of drive power. Safety officials say you may hear a clicking or rattling noise if the bolt loosens or breaks, and owners of the recalled F-150s should bring them to your dealer for free rear axle shaft replacements. You can expect to begin receiving notification letters starting Monday if your vehicle is affected. 8:45 now. WISC TV and Television Wisconsin have completed a major upgrade to our over-the-air broadcasting system with the installation of 2 new transmitters. So these improvements are designed to provide antenna viewers with a better signal and a clearer picture across southern Wisconsin. And because of this change, if you are an antenna user, you'll need to rescan your TV starting Wednesday. The process is fast and free. Just open your TV's menu, select settings, then channel scan or auto tune. In just a few minutes, the TV's channel list will then be updated to match our new signals. So this upgrade enhances our over-the-air reception for you, our valuable local viewers. Remember, you'll need to do this starting Wednesday, and for these step-by-step rescanning instructions, visit channel3000.com.
And still to come, I'm going to have your full weekend forecast. You're watching Weekend Mornings. Keep it here.
You're watching Weekend Mornings.
In today's health news, Costco has announced it will not seek FDA certification to sell abortion pills at its pharmacies. The wholesale retailer said it made the decision based on low demand from members and other patients. Costco's announcement follows a letter-writing campaign from conservative groups and company investors hoping to limit access to mifepristone. The American Heart Association and the American College of Cardiology are updating their blood pressure guidelines for the first time since 2017. They include a heightened focus on alcohol. The guidelines used to say people who drink alcohol should have 1 or fewer drinks a day for women and 2 or less a day for men. Now it's less than 1 for women and less than 2 for men. The chair of the guidelines writing committee says the goal should be total sobriety, saying there's too much evidence of alcohol's negative impacts on blood pressure. Time now 8:50. Let's check in with meteorologist Jacob Montesano live from our studio in Madison. Good morning.
Good morning, Michelle. Renee, here's a final look at the 3 things you need to know. On and off storms throughout the weekend, with some of those storms potentially being severe. But once we get to Tuesday and continuing for the end of the 10-day forecast, we're going to be dry and very nice. Now, looking at the hazards possible with those storms this weekend, could see some strong winds, some minor hail, and maybe a few isolated tornadoes as well. The tornado risk looks like it's mostly today, and we also could see some flooding concerns, especially considering how much rain we've seen lately. Now, taking a look at the current radar, right now all the rain off to the north, you can see the city of Eau Claire on the map is pretty much completely covered in lightning strikes. Heavy rain up there, but it looks like that round of rain will drift north of Madison's viewing area, but obviously still impacting plenty of La Crosse's viewing area. But there still is an isolated risk of severe weather for everyone, and this is going to continue throughout the day and possibly into the overnight hours. Then for Sunday, the isolated severe risk will drift south, mainly for southwest Wisconsin. Not expecting much for the day on Sunday, and then another isolated severe risk for everyone on Monday. But we don't have an alert day Monday simply because it doesn't look like we're going to see a big tornado risk. Now, for the next couple of hours, northern Wisconsin will see some scattered showers and storms. Looks like Madison and surrounding areas should remain dry, but that is until we get later in the day where those storms will begin to drift a little bit to the south, bringing in some heavy rain. And I already mentioned all the possible severe weather hazards, strong winds, some minor hail, maybe even a few isolated tornadoes. It looks like the later in the night we get, the less likely we will see the severe weather, but still going to see some moderate to heavy rain. And obviously the thunderstorms could produce some lightning strikes that may become hazardous. And as we get into Sunday morning, still going to see some rain, but for the most part, we're not going to see much in the form of rainfall during the day on Sunday. Maybe a few isolated showers and storms here or there, but not expecting widespread rainfall. But once we get to Sunday night, we're going to see more of that consistent rain move back into the area with more scattered showers and thunderstorms continuing into Monday. So as I mentioned, on and off rain for the next couple of days, but then we are going to dry up for much of next week. Now, looking at the 10-day forecast, we are going to see the temperatures fairly comfortable, upper 70s to lower 80s for the middle and end of next week. And we're going to be seeing plenty of sunshine during that time as well. So overall, once we get to Tuesday, the rest of the forecast is looking very, very nice. And with the amount of rainfall we have seen and potentially will see the next couple of days, we definitely could afford a week of no rainfall. And it's hard to complain when those temperatures are that nice anyway.
Right, so let's get past this wet weekend and we'll get there. Thanks, Jacob. Still ahead on Weekend Mornings, a fun tournament taking place in California. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
You're watching Weekend Mornings.
Finally this morning, thousands of Pokemon fans from around the world gather in California for the Pokemon World Championship. Players compete in trading card games and video game tournaments, and the event draws competitors from Mexico, Malaysia, South Korea, and beyond. A fun fact I found this morning is that the majority of players on the Pokemon Go app are between the ages of 35 and 54. We usually think it's more younger audiences, so I thought this was very interesting. What do you think about this tournament, Jacob?
I mean, I'm a big fan of video games, so any video game tournaments are like so intense. They're honestly, in some cases, they may be more intense than sporting games. Whoa. And for those of you that don't know about video game tournaments, I'm not BSing that. That is like serious.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. And to my viewers at home, thanks for watching Weekend Mornings. Coming up next is Mission Unstoppable. Our next newscast is coming up at 6 p.m. And you can find us streaming 24/7 on channel3000.com.